To the high noon report with me, Pugs Moran. Probably be best if I turned on the camera. I see that is off. There we go. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Welcome into the high noon report for a Wednesday afternoon. I'm Pugs Moran and do this every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Let's go to the chat room. 12 p.m.-ish. I know. It's like 12. All right. Nope. Chat is not married. Now you go. Now the chat's married. There you are. All right. Hi, Barney. Barney's first guy in the chat. Let's give him the credit for that today, or at least the first guy that I noticed. Here's what we do on the show every Monday through Friday at noon. What I try to do is I try to give you all the day's events, the hot topics, the headlines, the current events, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. I try and give it you a nice little rundown. We don't get political. This is not a political talk show. We don't do blue. We don't do red. We don't do nonsense. And that's all nonsense to me. We talk about all the other things, and we just talk about them like normal people without utilizing any political filter at all. So that's what this is. It's a 2-hour stream of consciousness. No breaks, no commercials, no news, no nothing. No, hey, let's say hi to our friends down at the law firm. None of that. We don't do that. Wish we did. That would mean that we wouldn't have to plead for tips, but we do plead for tips on this show because that's how this show runs. Because we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, we do ask you to support the show if you feel so inclined. You can do it at any of those options there, the Cash App, the Venmo, whatever it is. We certainly do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, so it's a 2-hour stream of consciousness. There's no breaks. There's no nothing. It's just wabbing it. We're going to give you absolutely everything that you need to know about this day, and not just the things that are happening now, but we're going to take a look back. We start out the show by going back in time. We do a segment called Erstwhile on This Day. Previously on, if you're so inclined, we look at the events that have shaped this day. We try and look for rhythms and patterns, things that might help us predict what's to come in the next few hours. Then we move on to birthdays. We look at people who were born on this day, celebrities and whatnot. We celebrate their contributions, and then we move on to deaths. People who have died in this day. Now, this is where we get to feel ourselves a little bit. This is the segment where we get to stand on high and cast judgment down upon people who are probably far more accomplished than us, although some of them are bad. And we decide they died on this day. Where did they go? Heaven or hell? So if you're ready, that's what we're going to do. We do the events of the day, erstwhile on, then we do birthdays, then we do, are these people in heaven or hell? We cast those judgments, and then and only then we move forward into the events of the day. So if you're ready, I say we get started. But first, let me say hi to the chat room. We got Byron here, Adam here, Jeff here, Leslie here, Taronda here, April here. God, you guys. I'm such a dick to you guys so much of the time, and you guys are just so freaking awesome. So I don't know. Look, maybe you couldn't understand it, but like, seeing the same names every single day is comforting. It's like, okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure that these guys, they not only tolerate me, but they must be enjoying something that I'm doing. And that feels good. And that's not something that, a lot of people get all the time. So thank you to my regulars who are here. We got Mike showing up. We got Byron. I'm feeling, it's I'm getting that thing. I'm getting that thing that I get, doing the dangerous dance with that fickle bitch en we. Not spiraling or anything, but I think it's because now there's no sun. Do you see how my body plays tricks on me? So I suffer from depression, and we had 100 days of 110 degree temperatures, and I was fine. It was like I was miserable. I complained every day. You guys know I wasn't fine. I complained every day, but I was pretty good as far as. And now it's been gray for 2 days and in the 80s, and I'm like, I'm suddenly mentally, what's happening? Why does everything? There's a lot of things happening. Good things. There are good things happening. So we shouldn't take it as that. And we shouldn't, again, when people tell you, which is the thing that we do now, we now tell you when we have these things. Like, going through a little bit of the depression today. Since we tell you these things, you should just know what's happening. It's not, again, when people are depressed, it's not because what happened? Well, I was born and my brain chemistry kind of took a weird cocktail combination. And now You know how you feel on your very worst day? Remember the absolute worst thing that ever happened? Do you remember how incredibly down you were? You didn't want to get out of bed? Yeah, now that just happens to us randomly. That just, nobody, our child doesn't have to die. It's just we woke up and now we feel the same way we felt when our child died. So that's just understanding it and talking about it. But not bad. Again, not bad. Google, sign me out. That's depressing. It's depressing that Google, after having been using their service now for about 5 consecutive hours this morning, decides that they now want to verify that it's me now while I'm streaming. All right, I'm going to sign myself back in, and we are going to get started on today's show because we have some very exciting things happening. Hold on. Got to make sure You guys, I'm out of passwords. I can't come up with any more passwords. I have now taken to misspelling the passwords that I always use. I'm out of passwords. I can't do anymore. All right, let's get started. It is the High Noon Report. I am Pugs Moran. It is the 13th day of the 9th month of the 2023 year. That's right, September 13th. It's the 256th day of the year. There's 109 more of these until New Year's Eve, or until New Year's. I guess there's 108 until New Year's Eve. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's do our first segment here on the show. We like to go back in time and take a look at the events that have shaped this day. We call it Erstwhile on this day. I hope you do too, because, then how are you going to accurately tell people about what you're listening to? Erstwhile on this day. Let's take a look back. On this day in 1788, the Philadelphia Convention sets the date for the first presidential election here in these United States. And they declare New York City the capital. Yeah! No! I don't know, it probably made it the capital, and then some dude got some shady land deal on some swamp land by the Potomac. All of a sudden our capital's in a swamp. Yeah, Washington, D.C. shouldn't exist. It was cheap land that was purchased at a discount by the guy. On this day in 1840, seriously, it's bad. It's really bad. It's not New Orleans bad. Like New Orleans is like, well, place is sinking. It ain't New Orleans bad, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty swampy. People don't know that about Chicago, too. Chicago shouldn't exist. Chicago's a swamp. For 2,000 years, there were no civilizations at that point of the lake. You know why? Because it's a swamp. It was a swamp. People don't know that. People don't realize Chicago's a swamp. But anyway, in the winter, it's a frozen swamp, which is, great. In 1814, on this day, in a turning point in the War of 1812, the British failed to capture Baltimore during the battle. This is why it's, again, burying the lead on these things. It's not about the British failure to take Baltimore. It's about what Francis Scott Key did in the moment. Francis Scott Key composed his poem, Defense of Fort McHenry, which is later set to music and becomes the national anthem of these here United States, ladies and gentlemen. I stand for the anthem. I stand for the anthem because I always have. It's muscle memory. I stand for the anthem. Yeah, we're supposed to. It's one of the covenants of our society, of our civilized society. We all agree. Now, what happens if someone doesn't? That's fine. It's their choice. See, that's what being an American is. I stand for the anthem because it's just programmed into me, and I'm a white guy. It seems like things have been pretty okay for me and my gym. My family came over here from Ireland with absolutely nothing, and they did pretty good. So I stand for the anthem. However, if you don't stand for your anthem, if you are not of the same life experience as maybe some, I don't care, whatever. Just don't start an armed rebellion. I don't care if you don't like the way society's going. You can protest any way you want. I don't care. Just don't try and burn down my Abe Lincoln in his big chair, just don't do that. On this day in 1862, the American Civil War, Union soldiers find a copy of Robert E. Lee's battle plans in a field house outside Frederick, Maryland. It is the prelude to the Battle of Antietam. This is for Civil War buffs. This is a hotly debated issue, whether or not the finding of, come on, man. Your battle plans? You left your battle plans. And we're arguing about whether or not we should tear this dope statues down. Come on, Robert E. Lee, the battle. You know who else did this? Reggie White. Reggie White left the Green Bay Packers playbook in the back of a Chicago cab one year. Yeah, well, I guess they got statues to him. Why not? Dude, how are you going to do this? And he blamed it on somebody else. The general's battle plan, his battle plans, he left them. He left them behind. Oh, hey, where's the battle plans? And then there was probably like some, oh, God. Oh, what if it was a slave? Hey, maybe it was a slave. Maybe it was by design. I don't know. Anyway, they debate in Civil War circles whether or not this was as important a turning event as some say. Like because it's humiliating for the South, like the North turned it into a big thing. But, other historians have gone, yeah, that was like an old one. That wasn't really the new plans. Whatever. Look into it yourself. On this day in 1953, Nikita Khrushchev is appointed General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Nikita Khrushchev famously is stare down who's going to blink first moment with President Kennedy during the both the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis. But then he went to the UN and he banged his shoe. I don't know if you remember. He took his shoe off. Leader of Russia went to the UN, took his shoe off, and started banging his shoe on the table. That was on this day. Khrushchev became the man in the Soviet Union. On this day in 1971, state police and National Guardsmen stormed New York's Attica prison to quell a prison revolt, which claimed 43 lives. This is the famous Attica prison riot, which I think was not all that famous necessarily, but then it was featured in a movie. Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon, as the bank robber who is in a standoff with police, and a massive crowd has gathered to cheer on the bank robber, and Al Pacino comes out, and in order to get the crowd on his side, he starts chanting, Attica, Attica, Attica. And that has now sort of become, you see it in viral videos when people are fighting. You see dudes chanting, Attica, Attica. Anyway, sort of became the rally cry for just absolute mayhem. And just people just throwing down. And anyway, it was on this day that started. Attica, Attica. On this day in 2008, Hurricane Ike makes landfall on the Texas Gulf Coast of the United States, causing heavy damage to the Galveston Island, Houston, and surrounding areas. 2008, that was I don't really remember Ike. I should, right? I remember Rita. I think I remember Harvey. I remember all the big Texas ones that I lived through. Katrina, of course, but that wasn't really. I don't really remember Ike, but hey, apparently it was a big one. All right, here we go. Buanam, buanam, buanam. They say it's their birthdays. Buanam, buanam, buanam. Have to take them at their word. Born on this day in 1918, Ray Charles. Ray Charles, ladies and gentlemen. What I say? Ray Charles. What I say? Born on this day in 1925, Mel Torme. Mel Torme, The Velvet Fog. For almost a decade and a half, I used a Mel Torme song as my closing theme. Coming Home, Baby, by Mel Torme, The Velvet Fog. Born on this day in 1944, Jacqueline Bisset. Jacqueline Bisset, oh, she was a 70s babe. She's a forgotten 70s babe, Jacqueline Bisset. Yeah. All right, let's go. 1944, also born on this day. How about Peter Cetera? Hold me now. I really want to tell you I'm sorry. Oh, God, Peter Cetera. All right, so I have a complicated relationship with the rock band Chicago. I like when the rock band Chicago rocks. Back in when Terry Kath was running the band, right? It was a rock band. That was 25 or 6-4. That was Feeling Stronger Every Day. They were a big brass. They were a rock band with one of the greatest lead guitarists in the world shredding out front, and a full brass funk band. That's basically what Chicago was. And then Terry Kath died playing Russian roulette, and Peter Cetera took control of the band. And it turned into wedding music. Hold me now. I really want to tell you I'm sorry. Ugh. Happy birthday, Peter Cetera. Born on this day in 1944. Born on this day in 1951. How about Gene Smart? Jean Smart. Jean Smart is quickly, in my estimation, on her way to national treasure status. She needs a couple more years, and she needs a couple more high-profile things. But Jean Smart is fantastic. Now, look, I know she started with Designing Women, and that was not a show that I watched. All right. So, but the few episodes of Designing Women that I did watch, Jean Smart was the cool one. They were all obnoxious. They were all just, well, I guess there was like the Grande Dame, right? Dixie Carter. I guess she was okay, but she was the voice of reason. And then it was all the Designing Women that worked for her, of which I thought Jean Smart was the coolest. Anyway, Jean Smart has gone on to just do knockout roles in just everything that she does. Right now, I mean, she's doing Hacks on HBO. And I would say that Hacks is her absolute best work because she's so good. She is so good in HBO's Hacks as a Joan Rivers type. She plays an aging comedian who's cashing in Vegas. And she's got a young writer who is trying to punch up her act to make it more modern and all that. And that's why it's called Hacks, because the young writer is like, I don't want to work for a hack. Anyway, it's a great show. Jean Smart is fantastic in it. And I would say it's her best work, except that, man, she did, I think it was season 2 or season 3 of Fargo, the FX season of Fargo, the FX series Fargo, Noah Hawley's Fargo. She starred in either the second or the third season. I'm not sure what it was, but she played the mom of like a rural crime family. She was kind of like a Ma Barker. Oh my God. So good. Happy birthday, Jean Smart. Born on this day in 1951. You are on your way to national treasuredom. You are fantastic, lady. Born on this day in 1952, Randy Jones. Who's Randy? One of Jerry's unclaimed offspring? Nah. Randy Jones is a cultural icon, though. Randy Jones is the cowboy from the Village People. That's right, the cowboy. You know, Randy with the big mustache. I'm 8 years old. I'm looking. You know what's funny about the Village People? I don't know. Like, I'm like 8 years old. It's like 78, 79, 77, somewhere in there, right? So I'm like that age. I love the Village People. They'd come out again. I'm like, they'd come out, YMCA, I'm dancing. You know, I'm a little kid. Grandma's into it. I mean, everybody's into it. It was a phenomenon. But even at 8 years old, I could look at Randy Jones, the cowboy from the Village People, and go, I don't think he's going to be shooting hoops with me in the dry. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy. So, you know, the whole discussion about gaydar, how did I know the Village People were gay? Absolutely nobody else knew. Like, well, not true. I shouldn't say absolutely nobody else knew. Like, half the country was like, you know, they're an openly gay group. And the other half were like, no, they're not, because that would mean they're evil. And, you know, so the Village People sort of like snuck through all their songs. In the Navy. Do you know what goes on in the Navy? YMCA. Read the lyrics to YMCA. Read the lyrics. The YMCA in the 1970s is where closeted gay men went to hook up anonymously. Read the lyrics to YMCA. Anyway, I mean, it's not a big deal. I don't care. It's sexual choices. We should all be fine with it. Who cares what people are doing? But don't pretend like it's not kind of obvious. Randy Jones, to me at 8 years old, was obviously a gay man. Born on this day in 1961. Dave, by the way, that was always a fun thing to do as a kid. You know they're gay because, you know, we were children. We didn't have minds of our own. So, you know, and the adults in the world were all like, gay is bad, you know. So it was on the playground seen as a gay thing, but it was as a bad thing. But only because we were programmed that. We didn't have any thoughts about sexuality. We were 7, 8, 9 years old. So everybody was, you're a fag, that's gay. You know, that's how we talked. We didn't understand it. Hopefully a lot of us grew and matured and went away and met people and we're like, oh, okay, the world is a lot different than the playground I grew up on. Maybe I should change my ways. But it was always fun out on the playground to be able to go like, hey, you know, the Village People are gay. And then have kids go, no, they're not. You're gay. You know, that was just kind of the 80s. All right, Randy Jones, happy birthday. I went and saw the Village People. Me and my buddy Mike and my buddy Kurt, I'll never forget this story. We were sitting around. We were in Mike's house. And his dad didn't want us in the house. We were probably 18, 19. Yeah, it was college because everybody's home from college. And we still couldn't get into bars. Although we had fake IDs, but our parents didn't know that. So it was like a Saturday night, and we were just all sitting around in Mike's living room, and his dad, you know, was like, yeah, this ain't going to work tonight. You guys got to get the hell out of here. I'm going to watch, you know, whatever whatever dads in the 80s watched, some World War II movie, some John Wayne movie. He wanted us out. So we're all sitting around. Remember, we're just high school kids or college kids. And it's probably 1988, 1989. And he just goes, so what are you guys doing tonight? And he's standing there in the living room. And we're like, nothing. We're going to hang out. We were thinking like we were going to hang out. So dude reaches into his pocket, pulls out $100 bill, throws it on the floor and goes, this $100 bill is to get you guys out of my living room tonight. He goes, but there's one caveat. And we're like, what? He's like, the Village People are playing down the road. You guys got to go see the Village People tonight and tell me about it. So we did. We took his $100 and we went to the Willowbrook Ballroom and we saw the Village People. And by the end of the night, we were on stage with the Village People. We were dancing. I got the big gun Randy. Here's the thing about the Village People. It was one of the craziest, most fun concerts I'd ever been to. And it was just like 5 guys on stage and it was only Randy Jones, the cowboy. He's the only remaining Village person. And it's just like, it's Randy, who at this point was like in his late 40s. And then a bunch of like 20-year-old dancers trying to be the other Village People. There was an Indian guy. It was fun. We had fun. Happy birthday, Randy Jones of the Village People. Born on this day in 1952. Born on this day in 1961, Dave Mustaine. Dave Mustaine is the opposite of Randy Jones. Dave Mustaine. You put Randy Jones next to Dave Mustaine, and I'm going, this one likes chicks. This one I'm not sure about. Dave Mustaine is like got that like super metal aggression all the time, just simmering under the surface. Like he's intense, he's serious, and he's stoic. And well, he's not stoic. Shouldn't say Dave Mustaine is stoic. Anyway, he's an interesting guy. But man, he has got this like not overly masculine like Danzig. Like Danzig was like overly masculine, but like Mustaine is like more. He's intellectual. He's a man, and he reacts the way a man is going to react. You know what I mean? He's just anyway, different than Randy Jones. Randy Jones is choosing his own path, and that is absolutely fine by my 2023 standards. I don't care. Born on this day in 1969, one of the biggest phenomena in American pop culture of the past ever, Tyler Perry, freaking billionaire Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry was living in his car, and he looked around and he went, you know what? There ain't nobody making stuff for black people. And he's like, Tyler Perry proved to Hollywood, because there was this institutionalized idea in Hollywood that only white people in Nebraska went to movies. Tyler Perry convinced Hollywood, and he did it without Hollywood. He did it in Atlanta. Like, he did it all on his own. Tyler Perry, I've never seen one of the Medea movies or anything, and I don't know that much about Tyler Perry, but holy shit, do I respect that dude. That dude, he may not be making stuff that's targeted to me, so I'm not supposed to be moved by it, but holy crap, what he did in creating the genre that black people were allowed by Hollywood for decades was basically known as blaxploitation. They were low budget films that didn't get major studio support. Some of the studios would distribute them, but only in like areas where those people live. That was sort of the institute. Tyler Perry said, no, you can open up one of my Medea films in Cineplex in Plano, Texas. It doesn't have to be in Oak Cliff. It doesn't have to be over by Fair Park. He changed the game. As far as, and he's got to be close. He's got, how much is Tyler Perry worth? That's a question for Google. Let me see. Because I know he's one of the most financially successful people in Hollywood. And we're talking about the Spielbergs and the Lucases and that. What is Tyler Perry's net worth?
Approximately
1.7 billion. 1 billion US, 700 million.
Estimated net worth in 2023 is approximately $1.1 billion.
Okay, 1.1.
What majorly contributed to Tyler Perry's wealth? Royalties from his iconic Medea character have been a significant contributor.
Yeah, proving that, you could fill suburban cineplexes with a movie that has a black cast. Tyler Perry did that. Born on this day in 1969. Born on this day in 1977. Fiona Apple. She's been a bad, bad girl. That was a weird thing for me when she broke out. Because I was like, I don't know, when did she break out? Like mid-90s. I was working at an alt station and we broke her. And that video was like really creepy, wasn't it? Wasn't it creepy? Like, wasn't it like for guys my age? I was like 24. She seemed very mature for what she was, which was younger. And I mean, in a different way than Britney did. Like Britney did that whole, I'm a bad guy, I'm jailbait. She did that whole thing. Fiona Apple did it in a much more seedy way. Like, see it? Like Britney Spears did that whole bit where you were like, yeah, and you're throwing money at her. Fiona Apple, you wanted to call the FBI, just like something that's not, I don't think this girl, happy birthday, Fiona Apple. Let's move into the deaths. Let's talk about people who have died. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died, and we get to decide whether or not they are in heaven or hell. Let's see. Let's go through them. Dead on this day in 1967. Let's start out with an easy one. I'm going to preemptively put this son of a bitch in hell. That's right. Dead on this day in 1967, Mohammed bin Awad bin Laden. That's right, the grandfather of Osama bin Laden, who basically built the company known as the Builder of the Kingdom. Yeah, bin Laden's father basically built everything in Saudi Arabia. You know how kick-ass Saudi Arabia looks? You ever seen them postcards and you're like, Jesus, I don't want to go there, but man, that place looks tempting, right? It looks cool. Yeah, that was Bin Laden Group. Bin Laden Group was they built the palaces, they built the government buildings, they built everything. So that son of a bitch, his grandson, made it so that there are Bin Ladens who may have already been in heaven. And after what Osama did, they went, hey, I need to see Akbar, Ali Ahmed, and Buford, Bin Laden, I need you all. And then they moved them to hell. They were in heaven, but then after, I'm telling you. All right. Also, dead on this day in 1996. We're going to talk about this one because this one's Tupac. Tupac Shakur died on this day in 1996. I met a guy. Okay, here's an aside. This is a weird aside, right? So there was James Parker, who I do Radio Misfits with, and I are taking stand-up comedy courses at the Improv. And by the way, we want all of you guys to come. James and I are putting on a show at the Improv. It's free. There is no cover. You know what I'm at the end of the show, I'll put it all up, and I should create a scroll so that you people can see it throughout the show. But it is a week from last night. It'll be Tuesday night, and it'll be me and James, and there's a whole bunch of other really good comedians. Like there's actual comedians. Dean Lewis is going to be doing a set. Dean's one of the best in Dallas, and some of the others who are like assistant teachers, we'll call them, in the comedy class that we're taking. And it'll be some of the people from our class will be up there doing it. And James and I will be doing full comedy sets for you. So if you want to come out and see what we've been working on and what we've been learning, come see James and I Tuesday night at the Improv. It is free of charge. It's absolutely free. I mean, you got to buy a drink. It's like you go to a comedy club, you got to buy, I think, 2 drink minimum, so a couple beers, whatever. But it's free. It's free. However, you got to be on our list. So we got to put a list together of names. So if you guys want to go, it's next Tuesday night at 7:30. Okay. Next Tuesday night. That's the 19th. If you want to go, the Improv in Addison, you got to reach out to me. You got to send me a note. We're still small enough at this point. So reach out to me on Facebook, reach out to me on Twitter. If you got my phone number, you can just text me that you want to go. But we need to put you guys' names on the list because there's no charge. We got to get you on the list. We don't want you guys paying to get in. Other people just walk up, they'll have to pay, but not. So if it's also a good way for us to know, like what we're going to have, how big of the room are we going to have to pull a curtain and all that stuff. We probably will, but that's all right. The other thing is it's just going to be a great opportunity for us to hang out. Because we've been doing the show now for 2 years. We've all been hanging out every day and talking about this stuff. And, wouldn't it be fun to be able to go out and grab a beer? And that's what we'll do. Anybody that wants to, after the Improv set, we'll all get together, the chat room people, the people from whatever, and we'll go up. Well, we're on Beltline in Addison. So, we'll find somewhere. Hell, maybe we'll go across to a Pete's Piano Bar. I don't know if Pete's is open on Tuesday, but we'll find a place. We'll find a place and we'll spend a little time together, and that'd be fun. I've been trying for the last couple of years to say, we should do this, we should do that. Well, here is a natural. There's no charge. Addison Improv next Tuesday night. Me and James will be performing as well as the great Dean Lewis, Barry Whitewater, who is another great local comedian. He's going to be, I mean, there's going to be pros, and then there's going to be me and James, and then a couple other people from our class who, you know, you probably won't care about because you don't know them, but you should because they're working hard and they're really good people. So, all right, that's next Tuesday, Tuesday the 19th. No cover, but you got to reach out to me either on Twitter or Facebook or I don't know. Jesus, at the end of the show, I'll just say who wants to have their name on the list. I also need to know who you're bringing. So if you're bringing your wife, we want both names on the list. So, all right, I don't know why. These are their rules. These are not my rules. All I know is that we didn't want there to be any charge, and there is no charge. So they're like, okay, then here's how we got to do it. So we want all you guys to come if you can. That's next Tuesday. All right, now, Mohammed bin Laden, Mohammed bin Awad bin Laden's in hell. We already put him there. Now we're dealing with Tupac Shakur. How did I get distracted? Oh, yeah, because God love him. One of the people in our class wrote a joke that they did on stage. It was a funny joke. The joke was funny. But this person had no idea. And the punchline concerned Biggie Smalls, right? And the joke, the heart of the joke was about how he doesn't know anything about music for the past 30 years and he hasn't been paying attention. And then the punchline is Biggie Smalls. It turns out he didn't know Biggie was dead. He wrote this joke and just used Biggie Smalls' name because he thought it was a funny name from hip hop, but he didn't know he was dead. And the reason that the joke really worked was because he was dead, but he didn't realize it. And he goes, "Oh, that's funnier now." We're like, "Well, not for Biggie's family, but yeah, for the purpose of your joke." Anyway, I thought that was funny. And of course, Biggie is eternally tied to Tupac because they both died within relative proximity of each other. West Coast, East Coast, hip hop, rap battle, and all of that stuff. Tupac Shakur, let's talk about him. Tupac Shakur has become an iconic. I mean, of the 90s, the two greatest Gen X icons are Tupac and Kurt Cobain. I mean, as far as cultural, you know, like that. So, I mean, I think without a doubt, Tupac's in heaven. And I don't know that I would have said that on the day he died because I didn't know a whole lot about Tupac on the day he died. I became fairly familiar with him in the years that followed. And I love writing. Like the music that I really attach myself to. It's not the music. It's not the beat. It's not because my toe is tapping. It's because, wait, what did he say? What did he just say? What did she just sing? You know, it's that, and it's always been that. And I was probably in my mid-30s when I realized that Tupac Shakur was an absolute genius with words and an absolute brilliant artist when it comes to painting pictures with words. So for me, Tupac's in heaven. I think just flat out, because when you read the words, I'm a believer that what you write, what comes out of you in that process, I believe that's the real you. I believe that's where you are your most vulnerable. That's what makes it good that I wouldn't say it, but I can't believe I'm writing it, you know, and you're writing this down about yourself and it's, or you're just writing about your worldview. And his worldview was admirable, man. Tupac Shakur had a world. Now I know if you watch nothing but Fox News and Newsmax and all that, and you're a man in your 50s, you're like, he was a gang. No, he wasn't. He was an art school student. See, this whole idea, people were like, oh, he came from the streets and he was awful. Dude was an art school student for advanced placement children. I mean, that's how he met Jada Pinkett, right? You know, he and Jada Pinkett were boyfriend and girlfriend in high school. They were both nobodies, but they went to this really good art school in Baltimore where all these talented people went. So, I mean, you know, it's like, he's a gang-banging thug. He probably should have been. No, he wasn't. He was a theater kid. Tupac Shakur, now he was thug life and all that. Hey, branding and who he would become in the period of time that he was existing in. That's the artist's prerogative. So, you know, he got a little bit, and white America just assumed that he's a serial killer, and they really don't know much about him. So, yeah, I'm putting Tupac in heaven. There you go. Dead on this day in 2006, the waiting room in purgatory is getting a little bit crowded because although I would put this lady in heaven because I think she's awesome and she's a baller, I do recognize and respect that a lot of people have problems with some of her political opinions. And because she was pretty much galvanized as somebody who was pro-choice. There's a lot of people out there who question her morality. So we're going to put Ann Richards, former governor of Texas. We're going to put Ann Richards in purgatory. We'll review her case. We'll see. Dead on this day in 2015. I had no idea this person died. This is one of them deals where you see that a person died and you go, oh, and you feel like you're learning it for the first time because you are. So forgive me, but I am currently mourning the death in 2015 of Moses Malone. I had no idea. No idea Moses Malone, one of my earliest favorites in basketball. Oh my God. Mo Cheeks, Moses Malone, Dr. J. Oh, those 76ers teams. See, they were my team in the East because my Bulls kind of sucked. The Sixers, Dr. J, Moses, I loved them. Hated the Celtics. Oh God. Always hated those East battles in those days between the Sixers and the Celtics. Also hated the Lakers. Hated the Lakers back then too. I like the Sixers. I know it was Dr. J. Dr. J seemed cool. So what do we got here? Moses Malone. I don't know anything about Moses Malone other than he was fun. Moses, and his name is Moses, so he's in heaven. Dead on this day in 2019. Here's one preemptively. He's going to heaven. Putting him in heaven. I'm putting him in heaven because I had the opportunity to meet. I knew this guy my whole life because he's a rock star, but I had the opportunity to meet and actually socialize with him twice in my life. And on both occasions, I came away going, did I just have a conversation at the end of my driveway with my neighbor of 20 years? Because that is the most approachable, the most untouched by celebrity and fame. Ladies and gentlemen, on this day in 2019, the world lost Eddie Money. Hey, it's Eddie Money. I want my MTV. Eddie Money was, dare I say, so money. He was so cool. He was just such a nice guy, man. We had him in, he was doing Taste of Addison or Frisco Fest or something, one of these things. He was in town and he was doing one of these little carnivals set up in a Walmart parking lot in one of our suburbs here. And it was odd because, Eddie Money's got a lot of hits, right? And yet he was doing this crazy schedule. And I remember we were in a break, in a commercial break. And he was one of these guys who in a commercial break would just start talking to you. He wanted to know all about you. So where are you guys from? Are you guys from here? He was just that kind of guy, Eddie Money. And in the commercial break, he goes, I go, where do you go? Where do you go from here next? And he leaned back in his chair and he laughed and he goes, me? I go back to the Four Seasons. Them? I don't know. They get on a bus and go, where you going, baby? And then this girl, this little girl, not a little girl, she's probably in her 20s. She goes, Oklahoma, we're going to wherever in Oklahoma. He goes, there you go. He goes, but I'm going to the hotel. He goes, and then maybe when they get everything settled, then I'll fly in before the show. And I laughed and I said, what are you doing this for, Eddie? Why? He's like, I love hotels. He was laughing. But then he said something. And it was so cool because he hadn't said it before. We didn't know. And he goes, that little girl there, he goes, that's my daughter. The girl he just said, baby, where you going next? And he said, that little girl there, that's my daughter. And she's the most talented, he's being a dad. And I'm starting to choke up. He goes, she's the most talented thing I've ever seen. And she's out there competing. He said this and it was so funny because he's friends with Billy Joel. She's out there competing with Alexa Ray now for second generation status. And if I can go out there and headline a show and let her get the experience, he goes, I'm just enjoying doing it. That's why he drove it. That's why he did all of these tours. He played all of these carnivals and all of these things. And the band that was backing him was his daughter's band. And it was because he knew that he could draw a crowd and that then he could step back and his daughter could perform. It was just a really nice moment. Eddie Money's in heaven. Eddie Money's a good dude. He was a nice guy. He's a cop. He was a New York City cop before he was a New York City cop and he hated it. He was like, I came from a cop family, man. Because it was just always expected that I was going to be a cop. So, I became a cop and then I wasn't a very good cop. He was like, we talked about him being a cop. I was like, what do you mean you weren't a very good cop? And he would tell stories about how I wouldn't arrest anybody, man. I didn't want to arrest anybody. I was supposed to, I'm arresting some kid on the street because he's got a joint, man. I just let him go away. I keep the joint. Ha ha, Anyway, Eddie Money was a good guy. All right, that's going to do it. Those are the people who have died. So we've made judgment. Who went to heaven and who went to hell? We know that Eddie Money went to hell. We know that Ann Richards, we put her in purgatory, only the second person to go to purgatory. Moses Malone, we sent to heaven. Tupac Shakur, I sent to heaven. And Mohammed bin Awad bin Laden, the grandfather of Osama bin Laden, we absolutely sent his ass to hell. All right, there you go. Let's see here. Now it's time. Let's move into all of the things that we do on this day, which is where we like to run down the events, all the things that people are talking about. Try to give you a nice little nutshell of, I don't want you running into people at the Starbucks and having them going, hey, did you hear about? And then you got to be like, got to listen to this bore. So I'm going to run through them right now. Okay, first and foremost, this is a fun one. I didn't make it, and I tried to make it. Okay, so I'm really tired this morning because I was up very late last night. Because I made the mistake. See, normally when I go to bed, usually I go to bed around 11:45, 12:15, whatever. The dog has completely changed my sleep schedule. The dog wakes up at 8 o'clock and I got to get up and whatever, but it's fine. It's good because I have these hours to work on the show. But last night, I was up late, and finally at about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I can't do this. And I fell asleep. And I fell asleep with the TV on, and what can't I do? Why was I staying up? Because I was watching the damn Cavalcante chase. Chester County prison inmate, Danilo Cavalcante, who escaped 14 days ago by crab walking his way out of a prison in Chester, Pennsylvania. He's been on the run in that area for 14 days. They can't catch him. They're seeing him every night. Every night somebody's like, yeah, he came in my house. Last night, he broke into some dude's house and stole a gun. He was stealing vans. He got 20 miles away, and then he came back to the same. I don't know. It's just the strangest thing. This guy was on the run. And last night, typically before I go to bed, I like to put on the British morning news shows. They lull me into sleep, listening to them talk about the world. But the last couple of weeks, I told you I've been monitoring this search because there are these live searches for this guy that were being shown on YouTube. So I would put the search on. And last night, my guy, Steve Lookner, who I absolutely adore. If you're not following Steve Lookner at Agenda Free TV, you are missing out. Steve Lookner is a dude. Steve Lookner is just a guy like me. He's just a guy who's streaming. He's been doing it longer, though, and he's built up a much bigger audience. And, my inspiration, I always say, hey, if breaking news happens, I'm going to jump on and covering. That's me stealing from Steve Lookner. That's me completely ripping off his concept to be able to do live breaking news utilizing all the, things that the internet and connectivity provide us. He's so good. Agenda Free TV. There's no politics, man. He is no politics. He is just this is the news and we are covering it and you watch it unfold. He's fantastic. So I've been falling asleep watching his coverage because he has been doing tireless coverage on this. This dude, Lookner, is probably, to my estimation, averaged about 3 hours of sleep a night for the past 2 weeks. He is constantly streaming the updates on this. So last night, as I'm about to fall asleep, I put it on and I start listening to the coverage. And he's going off about a heat signature, about how in this area that we've been looking now for quite some time, that there is a heat signature that a drone picked up. But unfortunately, a storm rolled through, so they couldn't get helicopters up there to see and confirm what the drone had picked up. So that there was like an hour break. But this is definitely something. The drone has picked up a heat signature near where someone last night reported seeing Cavalcante. So I'm riveted. How am I going to go to sleep now? This looks like this is going to be something. And then the rain comes. So all the helicopters get grounded and all the police that are on the scene at the perimeter, all of them are on hold now. You know what? I want to watch. I'm going to do this. Look, I'm going to show his coverage. And I'm going to show his coverage not because I want to steal from him, but I want to show you how compelling this kind of new media is, okay? I want to show you how this story unfolded and why I didn't go to sleep until 3 o'clock. I did. I gave up. I waited out the rain, and then we watched the helicopter because, on the flight radar, you can see it, and he's got all the screens split up. You'll see. After the rain passed, we saw the helicopter take off, and then we tracked the helicopter to flying towards where the heat signature was uncovered by the drone. So stupid. We're going to show you. All right, let me show you this. This is how it all unfolded. This dude does such amazing coverage. I know that some of you already know who he is, but and I'm so impressed. And this is at my own expense because I want to cover things too, but he's the best. He's the absolute best at it. So let me show you. He was doing this for 9 hours last night, the coverage and the capture. And by the way, yeah, he got it live. He was there live covering it when the announcement was made that he was caught. So here, let's. Why I'm so tired this morning. Okay. Hold on. Don't worry, we're gonna fast forward through all this. All right, so it was about an hour in when it started. So here. All right, so here, this is.
Now I got all confused about where I am.
So what?
That's 100.
So what he's doing here is he's
23. Yeah, this is the.
He's listening to the scanner and he's using like all of these heat maps. I mean, this dude is so much better at this than I could ever be. And by the way, I counted his tips last night. I counted his tips. He was on for 9 hours. I counted his tips for 2 hours. He made over $4,000 in just the 2 hours. So, yeah. But he also had 20,000 people watching. So
there's nothing coming up on
all right.
ADSB Exchange. Nothing coming up on Flight Radar 24.
Okay, so this.
But they said there was a drone in the air a little while ago on the scanner, but again, I don't know that that's the heat detecting drone. Because they're not saying anything on the scanner right now, like, oh, we can see the heat signature. Whereas before they were saying that.
All right, so now we got this. So this is the helicopter. After the rain passed through, they put the helicopter back up. So we started tracking the helicopter. And this is the way I track the helicopter. We've done this during the early coverage of the Ukraine war. We used Flight Radar 24.
The last transmission on the local scanner was at 3:17 a.m.
Okay, so now it's 3:17. All right, I'm asleep by now. All right, check this out. So this is the way I do it.
I'll put
Look
it
what
on
he's
for a
got.
second.
He's got
I don't know
3D.
how elucidating it will be.
All right, so look at this. Oh, why is this working? Hold on.
Helicopter just flying around that area.
All right, so see, he's got some 3D version of that flight tracker that I don't have. And I literally watched this from the time this helicopter took off, watched it fly like this.
That was something on the scanner, but
here we go. So here's the helicopter now. The rain is cleared. The helicopter's back in the air. It's now going to go investigate the heat signature. So incredible how we can do this now. This is an hour before CNN.
Andy Incognito thinks the helicopter won't be around much longer with fuel. I don't know how long it can fly for. Bell, #1 tracked helicopter, by the way, worldwide.
All right, so now let's skip up now. Now let's go up a full hour and see where we are now. Okay, so that's what the helicopter's been doing for the last hour. So obviously this is an area where they think they've got something. All right, now let's do the announcement.
I mean, if they really gave up, the chopper could just go home right now. The chopper's not going home. Noam says we're seeing this through, right? The chopper's still there, still flying around.
So here's going to be the announcement.
What is going on?
All right, so now this is a couple hours later, and now we've heard over the scanner traffic that the helicopter is hovering and that the police have now surrounded a specific area. So now we're like, what's going on? What's going on?
Uh-oh. Now what?
Three two four two to command. Got a gray Chevy Silverado pickup coming north on 100 from Flowing Springs. We've been checked. Yeah, 3242.
Is it doing traffic reports? Maybe it is doing a traffic report. Maybe it is. That's interesting. Maybe they just have it covering traffic and not covering the what's going on at with this. Breaking news.
There you go.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Suspect is in custody. Breaking news. You heard it here first.
There you go.
You heard it here first.
All right. So they got.
I'll play it again.
CP to all units on the perimeter. Subject is in custody. Confirmed. Subject is in custody. Repeat and confirm.
Breaking news. Suspect is in custody.
Subject is in custody. Confirmed. He is in
Right,
custody.
they got him.
That is confirmed.
It was hours, man. Hours of every night. Every night I'm laying in bed and I'm watching and nothing happens. And last night I didn't make it. They caught him at like 7 o'clock in the morning. There was no way I was going to make that. That's 6 o'clock Central Time. I finally fell asleep about 3:30. I don't even know what time it was, but it was on in the background. So I was dreaming that I was interpreting it, that I was actually. Here's the press conference that occurred a couple hours later. We'll see what they have to say here. Yep, here we go. Okay, we only want to hear from the cops because they're the ones that have the stories. Here we go.
A perimeter established in northern China, and by
Here we go.
of the capture of Cavalcante. Lieutenant Colonel Bivens.
All right, so he's going to tell you about how they caught him. 14 days.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Colonel. It is a true pleasure to stand here this morning and talk to all of you about bringing this manhunt to a successful conclusion and without getting anyone else hurt, most importantly. None of this would be possible without the support of this team.
Okay, so we want to hear the.
And by still more, most recently in a perimeter established in northern China. And working most recently in a perimeter established in northern Chester County. Last night, shortly after midnight, a series of events started to unfold.
Yeah.
First, we had a burglar alarm at a residence near Prizer Road within the perimeter. Our people investigated that, did not find Cavalcante there or anyone else, but it started to bring some of our people into that area. We had been searching an area not far from there already with some tactical teams that night. There was an aircraft overhead utilizing FLIR technology, and close to 1 a.m. picked up a heat signal.
12 o'clock.
That they began to track.
Right when I was going to bed.
Was west of PA 100 and north
We got a
of
heat signal.
Prizer Road.
Guess I'm staying up.
Tactical teams began to converge on that location where the heat source was moving. Unfortunately,
the rain came.
We had a weather system that also came in, and we had lightning that was flashing all around, and it caused the aircraft to have to depart the area.
It was like when you're watching a sporting event and like the game goes into a rain delay. It was because you're watching. This had all the drama of a sporting event, and we're all ratcheted up, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we got to ground everything because the lightning's coming through. I was like, oh my God.
Tactical teams made a decision to secure that area, that smaller area, as best they could, and hold it through the storm and until we could bring additional resources in and bring aircraft back overhead to ensure that we did not have an issue with an escape. That resumed early this morning, and shortly after 8 a.m., tactical teams converged on the area where the heat source was. They were able to move in very quietly. They had the element of surprise. Cavalcante did not realize he was surrounded until that had occurred. That did not stop him from trying to escape. He began to crawl through thick underbrush, taking his rifle with him as he went. One of the Customs and Border Control teams, BORTAC, had a dog with them. They released the dog.
Dog got him.
Some of our PSP CERT members were also there, had him surrounded.
Can't beat the dog.
The dog subdued him, and team members from both of those teams immediately moved in. He continued to resist, but was forcibly taken into custody. No one was injured.
He's all bloody
as a result of that.
You can see the pictures down there.
He did sustain a minor bite wound. We had medical
Minor.
personnel
On his
at the
face.
scene, and they took a look at that. Cavalcante was, as I said, taken into custody. He was transported to our Avondale station for further processing and interview, and he will ultimately be transferred to a state correctional institute where he will be housed and begin to serve his life sentence.
All right, there you go. We can be done with it from there. And it's over. Now I want him to escape again, right? Don't we kind of want it? Don't we want this to be his thing? Like, how crazy would that be? 6 months, we're looking for Danilo Cavalcante again. No prison can hold him. Also trending today, inflation. Inflation is making big news. It's off of inflation is surging, well, higher than expected. And they're saying it's because of the oil. It's the foreign people's fault. No, it's not. It's our fault. It's our fault for creating this system where the foreign people have all the power. I don't want to get into it, but come on. My God. And, it's taking its toll on my shopping grounds. It really is. You know me. I'm Mr. Dollar Store. I'll go. Dollar Trees are my preference. But Dollar Trees now, oh, my God. It's absolute mayhem. It's because of inflation. Because everybody's shopping at the Dollar Tree now. It used to be that if you walked into a Dollar Tree, half the people there looked like they were on their way to cleaning your dentist's office, and the other half looked like they were on a 15-minute break from a 12-step meeting. That's what a Dollar Tree looks like when you walk in. Seriously. That's what it used to look like. Now it's like it's crowded. Like everybody's going, hey, middle-class people, stay out of the Dollar Tree. Okay, this is our only nice thing. It's true. The Dollar Tree is like the only, because the dollar stores are really bad, but the Dollar Tree isn't. The Dollar Tree's kind of nice. Color scheme, it's brighter. It's more. It feels more. You know what I mean? Walmart feels a little bit like they didn't try. But then you go into a Target and you're like, hey, they've obviously got a gay man designing this place because it looks great. That's kind of how Dollar Tree is with the other stores. And now, used to be, I made the joke to my kid once that, we were in a Dollar Tree parking lot and there were 3 cars with broken windows with plastic bags over the windows. And my kid goes, this looks like a car dealership parking lot that's too close to a Topgolf. Which I thought was funny. Because all the cars have broken windows because it's too close to a Topgolf. Anyway, all I know about inflation, and I hope you know that I've been consistent with this over the past 2 years. Here's how I talk about inflation. How is it affecting my Dollar Tree experience? And not well is the answer I'm giving you. Too many normies now walking around and buying all the good stuff that used to go to us poor people. Well, us poor people, again, we had one nice thing, the Dollar Tree. And now it's all being picked over by women married to accountants who are doing fine. You're just trying to save a little extra. Get out of our Dollar Tree. Target, you can still go to Target. Ugh. Anyway, inflation is worse than expected for August. And really? You tell me that? Inflation is worse than expected for August, and that's because they're saying, because it's the gas prices. And I'm like, yeah, well let's talk about the gas prices. Why? We know that we can't do anything about the gas prices. That's right. Say it enough, and maybe everyone will believe you. You can do everything about the gas prices. You choose not to. This is the problem. There are deals in place with a bunch of super rich people that want to remain super rich and they don't want the spigot turned off. So they're going to keep screwing us, the rest of us, 95% of the country. They're just going to keep screwing the rest of us. And we all just go, well, that's fine because one day I want to be like them. They're going to let me be in their group. I'm not with these people like me or the others. No, they're beneath me. One day I'm going to be that mansion on the hill. That's what it is. It's mansion on the hill syndrome. It's why we have gas prices that are absolutely beholden to a Middle Eastern monarchy who wants us to die. Yet, there's a bunch of dudes in hats driving around Texas who made a bunch of crazy deals with those people 50 years ago, and now they're billionaires. Now Wall Street's involved and the global markets are involved. Don't tell me there's nothing we can do. We can do something, but it would be a big baller move. And that would be to just get us completely off that shit. Start cranking up our own oil reserve. Oh, man, I know this is polarizing. I don't care about the Arctic sea otter. I don't care. I've never seen an Arctic sea otter. And you know what? That's what we have zoos for. We have zoos so that we can see all of the animals that, would otherwise be gone because we human expansion, manifest destiny, whatever you want to call it, our expansionism for our own benefit has made these habitats for these animals gone. That's why we have zoos. So scoop up a whole bunch of, Arctic sea otters or whatever, and let's drill, baby, drill. And I hate that puts me in league with Sarah Palin. I hate that it does. But, they're not wrong about everything. They are actually, you can't just be one of these libs, right, who looks at the Republican Party or the conservative thought process, which, by the way, that's not fair now because there is no conservative thought process. I actually have a lot of friends who are true conservatives, and they will tell you there is no conservative thought process. That went away when the Republican GOP at the convention decided not to have a platform, to just have it be whatever Trump says. So conservative thought and some sort of tethering to those ideals, that's no longer a thing. That doesn't exist. But they're not always wrong. They're not always wrong, you stupid liberals, just because they are on that side of the aisle. Drill, baby, drill is a very real conversation that we should have in this country. And the reasons that we're not having it in this country are absurd. Arctic sea otter. And I made that animal up. I don't even know if that's a real animal, but it's a stand-in for whatever the real reason is that we don't want to use our reserves, our oil. We've got oil. Why do you think we bought Alaska in the first place? You think we wanted Alaska? It's like a skin tag on Canada. We didn't need Alaska. We took it because we knew it might be worth something. And now it is worth something. And we're like, oh, but it's so beautiful. Hate that. So yeah, inflation is bad, and they're blaming it on gas prices and acting like we can't do anything about inflation because of gas prices. We can't do anything about gas prices. Yes, they can. They are actively choosing not to. All right, here's another story. This is political, but I'm just going to mention it because it broke yesterday, and I didn't want to get into it because it was too political. But it is a story, and it needs to be covered. McCarthy, that's right, Speaker of the House McCarthy has met with a heavily divided GOP caucus. This concerning the proposed Biden impeachment. McCarthy says that he is going to bring the impeachment without a vote. So there's not going to be any kind of vote. You remember when they did it to Trump one of those times, the complaint was, we didn't have enough time to prepare for the vote because it was brought in like 2 days. Like there was a vote. Like they voted on it with Trump. They did the vote. But McCarthy this time he's not even doing a vote. He was one of the most vocal people about, well, I don't know, this Trump impeachment. They rushed the vote. We didn't have time for, that was his complaint, that now no vote. Now there doesn't need to be any vote. That's what McCarthy, so that's hypocrisy. And this guy's a son of a bitch. And he's a big part of the problem. And then, Biden's a big part of the problem too. I'm not escaping him, but this doesn't even have the support of his own party, and he won't even bring it to a House vote on the floor. That's how broken. That's how broken the GOP is. They have the leader of the House, and he doesn't have the support of the majority. That's crazy. McCarthy is a eunuch. He is just. Is McCarthy like McConnell? And who are the other ones that we just hate? It doesn't matter. They just suck. McCarthy, because they're seen as like part. Although McCarthy, McConnell is part of the machine. McCarthy wants to be part of the machine when it suits him to be part of the machine, and then he wants to be Matt Gaetz when it suits him to be Matt Gaetz. So I don't know. At any rate, he is a complete eunuch. He had a closed-door meeting today with a divided GOP. He did not have the votes to bring a floor vote, so he is moving forward with the impeachment of Biden without a floor vote in front of Congress. So, cool. Okay, cool. Politics, right? We don't like to do politics here. Cool. It's not going to go anywhere. You don't even have the votes in Congress. You sure as shit doesn't have the votes in the Senate, but go ahead. This will be good, whatever. I'm sure it'll play well on Newsmax. The UAW, United Auto Workers, this is going to be another kick in the nuts to President Biden. The UAW is planning a big strike. That's right. America's second largest union. I think that's what it is. The White House has been monitoring closely as Detroit's big automaker and the United Auto Workers engage in an acrimonious negotiations with laborers threatening to strike if an agreement is not reached before their current contract expires at 11:59 p.m. on Thursday. All right, so Thursday into Friday. If there isn't a new deal between the auto workers here in America and the car manufacturers, then they're going on strike. So Friday morning, no work. A full or partial strike could send shockwaves through the economy while also calling into question Biden's pledge to create a win-win transition to a clean energy future. While the president is not a direct party to the negotiations, the latest labor dispute is shaping up to be one of the most politically precarious of his term, with the key presidential battleground state of Michigan likely to be the most impacted by a work stoppage. Biden's allies are hoping to avoid a strike while also pursuing an elusive endorsement from the United Auto Workers. All right, so, auto workers, that's if they go on strike, that's a big deal. That is a huge deal for Michigan because that's a very large part of the economy of Michigan. The inflation is so bad, we're not buying new cars anyway. I mean, it's not like everybody's buying cars. It's not like the new car market is set on fire. So it's not going to be a supply issue. Although if you do happen to be someone who's looking to buy a car, they will absolutely charge you more and go, well, it's because of the strike. But this car was built 2 years ago when there wasn't a strike, and it's been on this lot for 12 months. How is the price of this car impacted by the strike? Because of gasoline. That's the answer they'll give you. It's all a shell game, man. Stay frosty. Stay frosty. Know when they're pulling the shell game on you. All right, here we go. Now we're going to talk about something important. But first, I need to take a break for 1 quick minute. I know I say at the beginning that this is going to be a nonstop stream of consciousness where I just talk from beginning to end without any breaks, but I absolutely have to take a break because I forgot to put the air conditioning on, and it's like 90 degrees in here now. So I got to put the air conditioning on. I'll be right back. I am sweating. See, this is what happens when it's nice at night and you turn the air conditioning off. When you go into the studio room, you forget that it was off. You got to put it back on. Hold on, I'm sweating really bad. I got to stand in front of the blower for a minute. That's what she said. I am huge these days into the "that's what she said" joke. I think it's the finest joke structure ever created. That's what she said, and I don't know the origins of it. A lot of people say The Office. I don't think that's the origin of the "that's what she said" joke. I think The Office popularized the "that's what she said" joke because I am currently rewatching The Office, and I just went through the entire first. I saw the introduction of Michael Scott's obsession with the "that's what she said" joke, and in the episode, it wasn't new. It wasn't. In fact, it was a joke that apparently, the first time he did it, people rolled their eyes like they'd heard it a million times. So this idea now, they're like, oh, it started from The Office. No, I think it was like popularized or repopularized from The Office, but I do not know what the origin of the "that's what she said" joke is, which is just, again, and here's why I love it so much. And the whole reason that I'm rewatching The Office, specifically, I'm rewatching The Office for the "that's what she said" jokes. It's because that's me and my 14-year-old. That's like we go back and forth. Like everything is a "that's what she said" joke. Even and it gets funnier when it makes no sense. So that's the whole point of it. It's going to be $14.99. You want to pay cash or credit on that? That's what she said. He'll yell that, and I'll be like, that doesn't make sense. And he'll be laughing. He's like, yeah, I know. Doesn't make any sense. I can't find a place to park. This is going to suck. You're going to have to walk. That's what she said. We do that. So I'm constantly looking for "that's what she said" jokes. Hey, if you come out to my comedy show on Tuesday night, that's 1 week from last night at the Addison Improv. Tickets are free. You got to let me know, though. Send me a note on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. If you want to come out, here's what I'm going to promise you. There won't be any "that's what she said" jokes. It's not a part of my act. Don't worry. All right, so here we are. We're back. I wanted to get the air conditioning on because this next story I want to talk to you all about, because I think there are a few things that are very important to me in this world. Aliens are certainly one of them. I'm not even going to look at the chat room. I'm not going to let Jeff Ballard in his, small Iowa farm man ways make me feel bad about what I know to be true. I'm not going to let Byron, I'm not going to let any of you people make me feel bad about this, because I know there are facts. Maybe you live in the world of alternative facts. That's fine. Enjoy your life. I live in a world of facts. And in the world of facts that I live in, governments all around the world are now opening public hearings on the subject of UFOs and what those governments have historically known about the subject of UFOs. We saw it here in America. It was a big deal of all these people from all over the world. Same cast of characters. It's the same physicists from Japan, molecular biologists from Germany. It's the same Russian astronomer. There are all these people from all around the world, some of the most learned and respected individuals in their fields from grand universities all over the globe, who have been studying this subject seriously for the past 20-some years, while the rest of us are all going, crazy town with the UFO talk. No, these very smart people and very serious individuals who have not all, actually, but I was listing last night where I was like, wow, a vast majority of them held high-ranking positions inside world governments. We are talking about cabinet members of world governments. We're talking about defense ministers who are now coming together, and they're going to all of these national hearings, and they're presenting what they know on the subject. And Mexico is up. Mexico was up yesterday. Mexico did basically what they did in America a couple of weeks back. Remember when it was all like, well, tell us about what they're saying. Do you remember here's the thing. They didn't reveal anything all that big at the American one. It was just about, here's what we know, this is what we see. And the people who don't want to believe, or the people who just want to be closed-minded from the very beginning and don't actually want to hear this story unfold, those people were like, well, they're not even you can't just say there's bodies and then not show us the bodies. That's BS. That's James. I'm imitating James Parker. Okay? So that was the big complaint about America. Well, where's the evidence? It can't be real without evidence. Oh, okay. All right. But at the time I was explaining, this hearing here in America is not about the evidence. That's going to come next. See, there is a process to these things. And I know bureaucracy is slow and the red tape is frustrating, but we've got to go through well, why don't they just tell us everything right now? And I'm like, I don't know, they haven't told us anything in the last 100 years. So why would they tell us everything in 1 minute? Anyway, it's a process. And what I enjoy most about this process is that the conversation. I love that it's being discussed. I love that people are talking about this. Serious people in expensive suits with positions of power are sitting there and talking seriously about these subjects. Now, having said all of that, the Mexican hearings were, whoo! Oh my God! We ufologists, amateur ranking ufologist. Although I was abducted, so, that's got to give me some kind of cachet in the world. This was the one we were excited about, man. They trotted out all the same experts, the physicists and the scientists and all these people who have been studying this for 20 years that are the ones who see the stuff that other people go, I know a guy who saw some stuff. No, these are the guys who saw some stuff. And you guys, they broke it down. They showed us bodies. That's right. Talk about burying the lead. They presented 2 alien corpses that are believed to be 2,000 years old. This isn't some nonsense like, oh, this is from a crash site that was recovered in 1967 by the government and they kept it from you. No, that's not what they showed you. They showed you 2 mummified remains of things that were found 2,000 feet deep in a salt mine in Peru during an archaeological expedition. This isn't some crap. The government, I saw it streak across the sky and then it was chased by F-16s and then we never heard anything about it again. Something crashed. I'll tell you, I know that's not that bullshit story. That's a nonsense story. Whatever, it might be true. But that is not the kind of silliness that was presented in the wrap-up to these guys showing these alien bodies. discovered during an archaeological dig. By the way, that's not debated. When they were discovered by the universities wrote about it, and they're like, yeah, we found these crazy mummies. We don't know what they are. We think that they're severely deformed human children or whatever. So, but that's the story. They were found. These things were found in this mine in Peru, and it was chalked up to severely deformed, blah, 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 babies 2,000 years ago. This guy is saying, no, this thing was found, so we're going to show them to you. You want to see them? All right, let's see the aliens. Because I have to tell you, while I was watching this last night on YouTube, while I was watching this, I had that moment where when they showed it, I had to pause it, and I went, because you have to remain open-minded like this, right? No, I know it's fun to be cynical because that makes life easier, because when you're cynical, you're not prepared or blindsided and nothing can hurt you. That's what being cynical is all about. Things are going to hurt me if I show some sort of optimism or interest in it because things disappoint me because I'm bitter. That's what cynical people are. So just remember that, okay? Cynicism. I have a lot of cynicism, but I know what I am. And I know that, oh, okay, so I need to work on that. See, just trying to be a better person. So I had the moment when I'm looking at these things and they unveil them, and I paused and I stopped and I just stared at it. And I said to myself, is this the first time that I'm seeing what an alien looks like? Is this real? Is this real? Is what I was wondering about. So let me show you these things. Maybe for some of you, and again, this is, it's a big story in certain circles. It's just, CNN, you would think that if they were going to show to the public for the very first time alien remains, you would think CNN might, break in. They might stop with the, let's put Trump in jail, the endless, how soon can we put Trump in jail, the endless that, and maybe they go, hey, check this out. Look what's happening in Mexico. These are serious people saying that this is real. We're going to roll our eyes because we're CNN, but we should show it. All right, so here, I'm going to show you these things. Oh, wow. Okay. I want to make sure you don't miss any, because this is one of those weird videos. If it was just a YouTube video, it'd be cool, but this is a newspaper video. Yeah, let's watch the full video. Hold on. What, we got to watch special? Oh, they're going to make it special. Truvia. Here you go. Ready to see an alien? There it is. That's... Oh, what? You won't let me pause it? You son of a bitch. They won't let me pause it. There it is. Kind of looks like... What? I didn't pause... No. What the fudge? Why won't this thing show me? What's going on here? All right. Oh, it's only 9 seconds. There it is. All right, there it is. There's his little body. There's like a static. Yeah, watch it again. You damn right we're gonna watch it again. There's 2 of them. They're little guys. They thought that was a severely deformed baby, but then they did like these biologists and these like really important doctors and stuff. They were like, yeah, they doesn't seem to have organ structures the way humans have. All right, so I'll read you the story. And there you go. Anyway, you see what they shared at the Mexico hearings yesterday. That's pretty cool. So now I'll read you the story. Okay. Here you go. Alien bodies with 3-fingered hands, unknown DNA signatures, and eggs inside are presented by UFO expert at Mexican Congress, with the non-human found in Peru said to be 1,000 years old. So 1,000 years ago, man, I'm telling you, I'm a big believer in the ancient aliens, and I'm a great believer in Sumeria and the Sumerian people being actual aliens. I am a great believer, and there is no way they can get them pyramids built with the technology they had back then. I'm a great believer in all of those things. So the idea that aliens were visiting, not primal, but, whatever, early American civilizations, absolutely. The idea that aliens are responsible for the Sumerian people, yeah, I believe that. Well, I don't rule it out. What? Oh, because that's not what you were told in a book? Because you still believe that everything that history tells you is... Stop it. We don't know. That's the idea. That's the grand joy of life. We don't know anything. We walk around pretending that we do know things because it makes us feel better and it makes us feel safer. And ultimately, the human experience is about not feeling fear. So we just pretend to know things, but we don't. Jaime Maussan, who has led investigations into alien phenomena for decades, stood with scientists. Jaime Maussan, who has led into alien phenomena for decades, stood with scientists to unveil two corpses in what he called a watershed event in front of the Mexican Congress on Tuesday. The researcher made the extraordinary claim that the corpses presented in windowed boxes and supposedly recovered from Cusco in Peru were not part of our terrestrial evolution, with 30% of their genetic composition still unknown. We don't know what it is. See, all these doctors are like, that's not human. That is a weird, different kind of DNA spiky thing going on there. We've never seen that before. Carbon dating by the National Autonomous University of Mexico found the bodies pictured with 3-fingered hands, no teeth, and stereoscopic vision were more than 1,000 years old. The bizarre presentation has triggered a frenzy of excitement among conspiracy theorists online, but it has also drawn skepticism. Unusually for fossils to have been subjected to analysis, the specimens were coated in what appeared to be sand. But Maussan insisted under oath Tuesday these specimens are not part of our terrestrial evolution. These are beings that were found. These aren't beings that were found after a UFO wreckage. They were found in algae mines, diatom mines. I don't know, I heard they were described as salt mines, but okay. They were found in algae mines and were fossilized. He later added, whether they are aliens or not, we don't know. See, we don't know what they are, but, because we don't know what they are means that you can't say they're not aliens. So just stop it. Let's investigate. You little creepy things. He later added, whether they're aliens or not, we don't know. But they were intelligent and they lived with us. They should rewrite our history. We are not alone in this vast universe. We should embrace this reality, he said at the event. Okay, anyway, it is on YouTube. You can find the whole event. It's crazy. I mean, some of the things these people were saying. Unfortunately, I didn't get to hear a whole lot of the speakers because it was in Mexico and I don't speak all the languages. And because it was live, they weren't doing live translations. But now I'm told that if you go to YouTube, you can find those hearings, the Mexican hearings where they unveil these bodies. And by the way, they do all kinds of other really fascinating shit. You can find it where it's translated. But last night when I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't know what these people are saying. And then they showed the bodies. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, that's an international language. I know what that is. All right, so that's the alien stories. Okay, so this was trending last night, and I thought it was funny because it's a silly thing. Bobert juice. Bobert juice was trending. Why? Why was Bobert juice trending? Because what's her name? Lauren Bobert. See, I always get her confused with Lorena Bobbitt. Remember Lorena Bobbitt, the girl who cut John Wayne Bobbitt's penis off? Lauren Bobert is not Lorena Bobbitt. Okay. So Lauren Bobert is the former escort who is a congresswoman from Colorado. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, those things are real. I've seen them. She never directly responds to the accusation. So, Lauren Bobert is now a congresswoman from Colorado. And she went to Denver. Remember now, isn't she going through a divorce or something? Didn't she leave her husband who was sent to jail for pulling his dick out in front of teenage girls at a bowling alley? Right? So she divorced that guy. Yeah, we're talking about a member of Congress. So she divorced that guy. And now she's just like, she's big shit, man. You don't think Lauren Bobert, especially in Colorado, I mean, Washington, she's big shit. She's big shit. I mean, she's an idiot, but she's big shit. And because she's big shit, she can do what she wants. And there's nothing worse than an empowered idiot. So, of course, she got thrown out of Beetlejuice at a fancy play last night, a musical, whatever, in Denver. So, Denver's got a touring production of Beetlejuice, the Broadway play, and that's fancy, and everybody's dressed up, and Lorraine Boebert goes there. She's got to be shit-faced. But nobody's saying she's shit-faced. She's being loud. She's with a boy. She's with, like, some dude. Like some guy that she's now with, because remember her husband, the one that pulled his dick out in front of a bunch of teenage girls at a bowling alley? She had to divorce that guy, and now she's with some new guy, and they are tearing Denver up, boy. They went to the Beetlejuice show, and apparently they were so obnoxious that security had to forcibly remove Lorraine Boebert from the theater, her and her guy. And then apparently she stood there and refused to leave and started yelling, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" Which is always my favorite thing that happens. Now, what was she doing? She was shouting things out at the people on stage. You tell me, was she drunk? She's fucking drunk. Of course she is. She's shouting things out. First of all, she's a member of Congress. Does she not know how to behave? Is this honestly the level of white trash that we are actively employing in this country? Employing to make decisions for us? She can't even go to a fucking play without being kicked out like some drunk ex-wife? Oh, my God. Such a train wreck. Hot, though. Hot. Looked hot last night. Oh, my God, did she look? She was on a date. She's on a date. She had really great seats. Oh, and don't worry. We've got the video. We're going to show the video. They released the video right away. So here's what she was doing. She was shouting things out at the stage. She's being an obnoxious jerk. Someone behind her, actually groups of people behind her were like, please shut up. And apparently she turned around and just threw a bunch of vulgarities. F you. Then security shows up. And by the way, we see this. We see it all in the video. Then security shows up. They make her stand up. This is a member of Congress. This is a highly visible person of influence in the United States. She's being thrown out by security at some play in Denver because she can't behave herself. She can't contain herself at Beetlejuice, the musical, long enough not to get thrown out on her ass. Not humiliated at all. Because, see, in order to be humiliated by that, you have to have shame. And that's something that I'm noticing among a lot of people in this country now. Nobody has shame anymore. There is no shame. There is no remorse for ill deeds done. There's nothing. So, yes, this should be really embarrassed. Like, she should wake up in the morning and go, oh, my God, that was so embarrassing. But that's not what she did. She woke up in the morning and she tweeted, hey, somebody tell me how it ends because I got kicked out. I mean, on the one hand, you're owning it. But on another hand, you have no shame. And we cannot have a civilized society if we have, as individuals, don't have personal shame for our behavior. Doesn't work. Then we just do whatever we want. We never feel bad about it. Okay. So let's watch the video, shall we? So, what else was she doing? She was yelling. She was getting into it with people there. She was vaping, which is the most white trash aspect of this whole thing. Why do people vape? People who are vaping, why do people still? You're not supposed to vape in public. You're just not. It's like the whole smoking thing. But there is a class of individual. There is a class of individual in our world who sees the vaping as a loophole, and they want the opportunity to exploit the loophole. So it's like, I'm going to vape right here in the middle of the theater because it's not smoking. It's vaping. It's different. And, James Parker is one of these idiots. James Parker, we're at comedy class. James Parker's like hitting a vape. I'm like, dude, go to the fucking bathroom. I mean, there's a room full of people here. They don't all want, it's just mist. It's not, no, it's mist. It's vaped saliva. That's what that is. That's your mouth. That's a combination. Anyway, it's gross. It's gross. And these people, so that's what she's doing. She's an idiot. She's one of these idiots who's just vaping. I'm not smoking, and doubling down on that bullshit. Just don't vape. Just don't do anything that is socially going to drift into the face of somebody who didn't want it. So that's what she's doing. She's look hot though, man. She looked really hot. All right, let's watch the video. Let's see. Okay. Now, this is a good video. I think it's like 3 minutes long because they don't just walk her from the theater, they walk her from the entire premise. So what we're going to see here is a combination of about 8 security cameras following Lauren Boebert as she's being walked from Beetlejuice the musical. Here we go. Why is this insignificant Colorado congresswoman somebody we all know? She affects 20,000 people on a specific slope of a mountain in Colorado, and yet we all know. Do you see how we shouldn't even know who she is? She is a local congresswoman, but she's playing the star game, and we all know who she is. All right, here we go. So this is the old Boebert. All right, there you go. Okay. All right, there it is. All right, so what you're looking at there is black and white. This is the theater. We'll pull it all the way back to the beginning. Okay. All right. So here's the theater. Now I want to draw your attention to Boebert. All these people sitting in the theater, right? They're all enjoying Beetlejuice the musical. All right, here's Boebert. She's on her phone. She's first of all, she's on her phone, which I'm sure is irritating people. So this is her. This is her and her new boy, right? This is her. Now what we're going to see, oh, is this security? I believe this is security right here. They're about to approach her and tell her, you need to get the fuck out of here, you piece of trash. You are acting like a fool. So here we go. All right. And there they go. Now they're waiting for an applause break. There was a dramatic scene, and now he's like, you got to get the fuck out. And here it is right here. He's like, you got to get out. Now this guy's like, yeah, no, I don't care who you are. She's going, you know who I am? He's like, yeah, I don't care. You're disturbing other people. And look, there's people around her clapping. Like there are people going, yeah, get her out. Right now, nobody is watching the show. Everybody is watching Lauren Boebert take control of the show by being an idiot. All right, so come on. What's happening? I don't want to freeze. All right, are they walking her? No, she's still not leaving. All right, so that guy had to leave. She's refusing to leave. Look at her. She's like, I am not leaving. Do you know? This is right here. Do you know who I am? It's not smoking. I'm not smoking. It's vaping. Vaping is legal. It's not smoking. You know, she's making that argument now because she's one of those people. And now he's like, no, seriously, though, you got to leave. You got to leave now before this turns into a big thing. All right, so they're walking her. Look at her. She looks hot, man. She does. We're going to see her better. We're going to see her in color cameras as soon as she leaves the theater. Look at her. She's kind of like, oh, I dropped my whatever. All right, so here goes boyfriend. Boyfriend's making sure, you know, your purse and all that stuff. All right, there she goes. She's wearing like a hot date night dress. She looks good. Now all these. Okay, here we go. Now there's the doors to the theater. Here she comes. She's gonna come out. She's getting walked. Look at her. She's like, yeah, F you, mother F. Right? Look at her. Like, I don't know if that's what she said, but look at her. Like, as she leaves, she's like, you know, she's not saying, I'm so sorry about how I behaved. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the show. You know that that's not what she's saying here. She's like, yeah. Look at her. Here she comes. Right here. See her? She's got her head. She's doing that. Yeah. She's like, she's being a pig. She's not. Just leave. Okay. People spend a lot of money on these tickets. You're being an ass. Just get out. You don't have to be. You don't know who or whatever it is she's saying. I don't know what she's saying. I'm just judging the body movements. Yeah, she seems to be. She's also filming with her camera. Now here she comes. Security guy's like this way. And she's like, yeah, whatever. She looks good, though. All right. It's like her man walking behind her, I guess. Are they like walking her straight to the parking garage? Because they're going through this whole complex. Not just, where is this, I wonder, in Denver? It's not just a theater. It seems to be a theater in a greater, here she comes. What is she doing? She wearing big old boobies today? Look at her. She's pulling up her boobs. There she is. Look at her. Look at her. She got fakes? I think she does. There she is. She's like, okay, whatever. Not looking finger. That's not a middle finger. But, you know, some Denver lib is like, you suck, Boebert. And so she's probably, all right, so there she goes. All right, I like these people. These people are pretending like they don't know what's going on. They're acting like they don't know it's her. But then watch how they're both like, hey, they know what's up. She's going to follow her on this side. This guy's going to quick and go the other way. She's like, I think it's. No, see, by the way, Bobert is still, you see, she's still jawing at people over here. Watch this. I was focused on the people on this side. Look at her over here. She starts jawing with the security guy. It's like, oh, that right there. That wasn't a nice look. Look at that. And who's she saying that? She's saying that to the other security guard. Look at it. I don't know what she's saying there. But it ain't. Thank you for all that you do. That's not what she's saying. Now she's still going at it. I'm just going to talk shit because I'm a drunk chick. I'm a drunk hot chick talking shit. Oh, yeah, I'm also a member of the United States Congress. She's going, now she's still talking shit to the security guy, and the security guy's like, yep, that's fine, ma'am. Okay, thank you, ma'am. She's like, you don't know who I... She looks like she's kind of smiling here, but is this like... she looks good, though, doesn't she? I mean, hey, got no problem with her as a trophy wife. I just, I don't know that she's ready for Congress. Certainly not ready for Beetlejuice the musical. We learned that last night. They're like, man, that chick's a bitch. No, these people are like, they've heard it because they're listening to the radio, right? They're like, we know what's going on. So they're moving out of the way. Here she goes through the gift shop. Exit through the gift shop, mama. And that's going to do it. And she is out on the street. There you have it. That was Lauren Boebert's night last night. I tell you, I sure am glad I don't share a worldview with her because she's a terrible human being. Aaron Rodgers. Speaking of terrible human beings, I don't know that Aaron Rodgers is a terrible human being. I think Aaron Rodgers is a terrible human being because of what he did to my Bears. I think he's a weirdo. But he's always been a weirdo. He dates girls who are like in a tree religion. I'm not kidding. Yeah, he's a weird guy. He's got weird things. Anyway, I hate him because he's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. And he's played in my team's division and he tortured us for 15 years. Anyway, all that being aside, Aaron Rodgers, there's more information coming out. It is some doctors are now talking about what we are looking at as far as his rehab. And because of his age, he's going to be 40 years old. Because of his age, as I was speculating yesterday, Jets fans, he's going to be ready for camp. He ain't going to be ready for camp. He may not even be mobile by the time camp comes. He is going to have a very serious surgery on a 40-year-old leg. So the big talk now is, do you think he'll come back? Because this is a very serious injury. This is a serious one. And it's always the serious ones that don't look that serious because this certainly wasn't, as I described, a particularly violent sack by Leonard Floyd. He dragged him down to the ground. He just planted his foot weird and his calf popped. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers won't play another game this NFL season. The former Green Bay Packer legend and future Hall of Famer was just 4 plays into his tenure with the New York Giants. 4 snaps in. The shocking injury on that. 4 snaps. I made the joke last night. 5 if you count the ligament. Thank you. 5 snaps. The shocking injury on national television stunned the NFL world and fans nationwide. I do like that joke, though. An MRI has confirmed, this comes from Adam Schefter, an MRI has confirmed that Aaron Rodgers officially tore his Achilles on the 4th play of his Jets career. Rodgers' season is now officially over. There are already questions about whether his Hall of Fame career is over as well. Developing ... I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers has the competitive spirit of somebody who is going to want, that's what champions are, and he's a champion. He's got that champion's mindset. He's going to have the competitive spirit to prove, his body wrong and want to come back and do it again. However, he's also Aaron Rodgers. And people are complicated, and they're never just one thing. He is not only that competitive, doesn't only have that Jordan gene, as they call it. He doesn't only have that Jordan gene, but he's also a weirdo who very well may spend 48 hours inside a deprivation tank and decide that he wants to be an astronaut now. You have no idea with this guy. So that's the latest news on the Aaron Rodgers situation. The Aaron Rodgers, I'll put it this way. I am safe in saying that I believe the Aaron Rodgers era as a New York Jet was 4 snaps long. 5, if you count the Achilles. I'm going to run that joke into the ground because I really like it. I came up with it organically last night talking to James, and I just listening back to the show, it made me laugh. That might make my act on Tuesday night at the Improv. I don't really have any Aaron Rodgers jokes or football material, so I would have to really shoehorn that in. Chad Henne. How about Chad Henne? A lot of people are talking about who's going to be on the New York Jets radar as an emergency backup. They're going to roll with Zach Wilson, and why wouldn't they? He was a big draft. It's number 2 overall pick of the Jets just a couple seasons ago. They brought in Aaron because they realized that Zach was going to need a little more seasoning, and they went and they built up this incredible team. The New York Jets are an incredibly talented team, and they were like, yeah, but our quarterback ain't ready yet. So they went and they got Aaron Rodgers, and it was supposed to be their year, and now they're back with Zach. Now they're back with Zach. Hey, maybe Sam Darnold's available. How fun would that be? How great would that be? They get Sam Darnold back. So they're looking around. They're looking around at who they got. Chad Henne, according to Adam Schefter, is the one that they've reached out to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's Patrick Mahomes' backup. Chad Henne is on the New York Jets radar. Also, Jerry Jones is trending. Jerry Jones is trending because he went on 105.3 The Fan, my old station, and was talking about the situation with Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets now being desperate for a quarterback, and it just so happening that the Dallas Cowboys had recently acquired a pretty high draft pick quarterback in Trey Lance for a 4th-round pick. And look, here, let me say this. Let me just say this about Jerry Jones. We all make fun of Jerry Jones. We all, that guy, we need a general manager. Let me freaking tell you something. If Jerry Jones gave up a 4th-round pick to acquire Trey Lance, who he didn't need, who was just going to ride the pine behind Dak Prescott, who is a wonderful insurance policy, but as a player, certainly not proven. He's just upside. He's not a proven player. Jerry Jones spends a 4th-round pick to go and pick the San Francisco 49ers garbage. If Jerry Jones can flip now that 4th-round pick to a 2nd, with the Jets, or God forbid a 1st. Like I heard somebody say at first, I'm like, no, first of all, the Jets aren't giving a 1st for Trey Lance. He's unproven. But they also have Cooper Rush, who also seems to be someone that the New York Jets might be interested in. But I just want to focus on the Trey Lance thing. Let's say that if he flips Trey Lance for a 4th, then what's he doing? Why would he do that? I would just keep Trey Lance. You keep Trey Lance because you got him for a 4th. And again, he's all upside, and you've got a really good quarterback in Dak. Why not develop another one behind? There's nothing wrong with that. So if it's going to be a push and you're going to get a 4 for him, no, you don't do it. They offer you a 3. See, now you're moving up the draft board. Now you're like, okay, we didn't really need him. We got Cooper Rush. We really don't need him. Okay, a 3rd-round pick is a good pick. A lot of people in the Hall of Fame were 3rd-round picks. And get a good player with the 3rd. But if he were to get a 2nd, I'm telling you, if Jerry Jones was able to flip this impulse buy, and that's what Trey Lance was. Trey Lance was an impulse buy. If Jerry Jones is able to flip this impulse buy on Trey Lance into a number 2, a whole bunch of us got to just applaud him. We got to just be like, okay, Jerry, the old gerbil-looking plastic surgery addict, you've driven us nuts over the years, but that's a good move. It's a good move. Hey, sometimes even the worst gamblers win a hand. I don't know. Cooper Rush, too. Deal Cooper Rush. What we could get for Cooper. I'm 3rd, 2nd. Cooper Rush is far more accomplished than Trey Lance. Far more? I don't know if he's far more, but he's more accomplished than Trey Lance. Trey Lance is, again, all upside. What joke? Adam says, saw that joke on Twitter a ton. What joke? He only made it 4 snaps, 5 if you count the tendon. That's fine. I don't fucking care. We go through this in stand-up comedy class. It's a very real thing. It happens. Dean Lewis calls it the great mind syndrome. It's like there's sometimes they're just obvious jokes that people, all get to. I hate that. That is the worst. That is up there with when I have an amazing idea on how I'm going to make $1 million on something. I'm like, why doesn't this exist? And then you look into it a little and you find out, oh, it exists. You're like, I just didn't know. See, that's only relying on your life experience. To me, it didn't exist. I didn't know it existed, and it turns out it exists. I hate that. I have ideas all the time that already exist. I suppose I could see. I don't know. That's so upsetting. It's Very upsetting. Kevin Costner is trending. This is also upsetting. Kevin Costner is trending. I don't know why this has been happening. I don't understand this. This has gotten almost zero coverage. Nobody is even remotely interested in this story, but I am. I've been watching it. I've been following it. You know, Kevin Costner is going through a super ugly divorce. He is. And it's crazy. And for some reason, it's like, well, if it ain't Johnny Depp and Amber Heard taking a poop on a bed, I can't be bothered. This Kevin Costner trial is crazy. Kevin Costner just got a big win, though, in the trial. Kevin Costner and Christina Baumgartner resolved another major issue in their contentious divorce when she has now officially vacated their marital home. The former couple spent months fighting over the Oscar winner's $145 million estate in Santa Barbara, California. By the way, Kevin Costner, as it turns out, is crazy rich. His estate in Santa Barbara is valued at $145 million. That's not what Kevin Costner's worth. That's just what his main stomping ground, where he raised his kids and where his family, $145 million Santa Barbara, California estate. And the wife, who he's been married to for 18 years, she's like, I want the house. And he's like, look, here's the deal. When I married you 18 years ago, I was still Kevin Costner. I was already Kevin Costner. Yeah, I was Kevin Costner of 18 years ago, which is, even better than Kevin Costner of today. So you signed some paperwork, and one of the paperworks was that you said one of the pieces of paper that you signed there, Christine, when we got married, was that if we didn't work out 30 days after we filed for divorce, 30 days, you have to vacate this home. And she signed it willingly. And then 18 years later, she raised a bunch of kids in the house. She thought, well, it shouldn't count anymore. Well, you thought it was a good idea when you had handsome 18-year younger Kevin Costner, big-time movie star, wanting to marry you. You were like, I'll sign anything if I could just have this life. No, she signed it. She signed it 18 years ago. She filed for divorce, and he's like, get the hell out. I got the paper, part of our prenup. And she's just pushing back on the prenup. By the way, the prenup, even by 2023 standards, she's getting like $900,000 a month. $1 million a month for child support. That's like the child support. It's crazy divorce talk. Kevin Costner and Christine Baumgartner resolved another major issue in their divorce when she officially vacated their marital home. The couple had spent months fighting over the Oscar winner's $145 million estate in Santa Barbara. Before they tied the knot in 2004, Christine signed a prenup agreeing to vacate the home within 30 days if she and Kevin ever broke. But when the time came for her to move out, she refused. It was months before a judge ruled in early July. So she got to stay, because that's how it works, because the mechanisms of justice. Now, I don't know who's to blame here. I just know that they're being really mean, and that she is not coming off good, because the offers for her, like $900,000 a month, isn't enough. She's like, she wants more? What? Anyway, it's interesting. It's not really being covered, though, but you can poke around, just Google search Kevin Costner. You're going to see all these crazy details about this trial, by the way, that's been going on for months. It's been going on forever. And I'm watching it, and I just don't understand why it's not picking up steam. It's not trending. Nobody's talking about Kevin Costner on Twitter. And they should be, because there's crazy details, like sex details and stuff, too. Roll Tide. Oh, by the way, Kevin Costner is also renting her a home. In early August, Kevin Costner took out a lease for 2 years on a home for Christine. Kevin Costner is paying $35,000 a month for the home. So she wants $900,000 a month in just cash, just walking around money. And he's already paying $35,000 a month to put her up in. Do you know what $35,000 a month gets you? Woo! You're fine, is my point. All right, Roll Tide is trending. Why is Roll Tide trending? Because the Alabama Crimson Tide and their fans are some of the absolute worst people on the planet. I've always known this. Don't know if you have. Maybe you think that Nick Saban is glorious. No, he's not. Terrible human being. People who play at Alabama are terrible human beings. Henry Ruggs. People who root for Alabama are even worse. You Crimson Tide losers. I can't stand the team. And it was so nice to watch UT Hilton Hogs. It was so nice to watch our Texas Longhorns take them out last Saturday. However, Alabama fans reacted the way Alabama fans do. And here, let's see. Do I have it? I don't know if I actually. Or do they not have it because it's bad? All right, so this is so University of Alabama is now apologizing, as they do, because apologizing is the easy thing to do, and it's the right thing. Just apologize. Doubling down is frustrating and the wrong thing to do. Apologizing is just apologize because this did happen. Here you go. This was while UT was kicking the crap. Well, but you know what I mean? This is when UT was celebrating. Let's give a listen to some of the great Roll Tide, Alabama Crimson Tide. Look, they're champions. They're good. They're good players, right? They have a great program. Just wish their fans had class because their fans don't.
You're a fucking faggot! You guys are all faggots! Go back to the projects, faggots! Go back to the projects!
Roll Tide!
Faggots! Go back to the projects! Let's go! You're a fucking faggot! You guys are all faggots! Go back to the projects!
What are you going to do? Dumb hillbilly college kid drunk off his ass, his team, who, he's probably been a fan of Alabama for the past 5 years, his whole life of being a Bama football fan. They've been the greatest team in the country. Georgia the last couple of years. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's probably not used to this, and this is how they react when they lose. This is how Alabama fans react when Alabama is just a regular team. And I don't even know that they're a regular team. They're still a top-tier team. Of course they are. They're Alabama. But they got beat by Texas. And that's how the fans reacted. That is. Ross Rubio says that footage is from 1998. Well, I don't know how that's possible. I mean, there is a news story right here. Okay. Huh. Well, that's the problem with viral video. That's not 1998. That's not what uniforms looked like in 98. Those are modern uniforms. That is absolutely not from 1998, Ross Rubio. Maybe that's not what you're talking about, but that is absolutely. Oh, he's kidding. Okay. Sorry. All right. You got me a little confused. Let's see here. What else do we have? Okay. We're going to end it with this. This is the last one that we got for today. So a guy, I don't do a lot. Every day there's a story that comes from the Smoking Gun website, and I don't typically do a story from the Smoking Gun because it's just like stupid. But this one I thought was interesting. Because I've been there, but holy shit, man. What are we doing? Let me show you this guy. All right, so this dude, he walks into a Little Caesars. All right, first of all, I'm in a bad mood because Little Caesars is mid to lower level pizza at best, okay? So really, this is the pizza I got. So this is the guy. That's him. Look at him. He did something bad, and it involved that gun. Look at him. This is America's responsible gun owner right here. So here's what this guy did. Fucking idiot. So he walks into a Little Caesars in his neighborhood, and he orders a hot and ready pizza to go. And they say it's going to be 15 minutes because that's what pizzas take. And he didn't like that. He thought they were hot and ready. He wanted it to be ready. And he got into an argument, and he started yelling at people. And they're like, well, do you still want your pizza? And he's like, I'll be back. So dude leaves. He's storming. He's one of these white men. He's one of these middle-aged white men. His wife isn't it. He's not attracted to his wife anymore. She's certainly not attracted to him. Lays in the same bed with her. His boss is such an asshole. And his boss is like 15 years younger than him, but he's one of them college kids. And oh God, his car's making a noise. Everything is just an irritant to this dude. So the fact that he can't just walk into a Little Caesars and grab himself a hot and ready pizza, that he has to wait like a normal person because pizza takes time. He goes home, he walks a couple of blocks home, and he walks back. He grabs his AK-47, and he walks back in. He kicks open the door to Little Caesars. He aims the AK-47 at a little 16-year-old girl who's working there for the very first time, points it at her head, and he says, is my pizza ready now? That's this guy. The fuck are we so mad about? Seriously. So I'm wondering, should this guy ever be allowed to own a gun? Come on, gun advocates. Should this guy have his gun taken away from him? Because, you know, he was a responsible gun owner, and due to the Second Amendment, he should be able to walk into a Walmart and buy an AK-47. Actually, no, right? Isn't that wrong? I don't know. I don't know enough about guns. I don't care. I'm not a gun fetishist, right? But should this guy ever again? I'm not talking about before. No, I'm talking about because he hadn't done anything yet. But we got him. We see what he's capable of doing with his legally obtained gun. We know what he's capable. Should he ever be allowed to have a gun again? You're not reasonable if you say, well, yeah, he's obviously. No, this is a, come on, come to the table and be reasonable. Should he have been allowed to purchase a gun? Yeah. Should he have him taken away from him now after he decided that waiting for a pizza was just outside his limits and he pointed a gun at the head of a little 16-year-old girl working at little? Should he be allowed to have a gun again? No. Well, he didn't kill anybody. Okay, whatever. You guys stop it. So the way that it ended, there was a woman in there. There was a woman in the Little Caesars. And she had a pepperoni pizza. She was on her way out the door when this guy came bursting in with the gun. And he goes, is my pizza ready now? And he points the gun at the girl's head. And the woman there with a pepperoni pizza, she looked at him and she said, here, I think this is yours. And she gave the dude her pizza and he left. She's that guy. I mean, just look, you just know this is a guy that just, you know, doesn't think he should have to wait in line, doesn't think he should, thinks everything should be the way it was, you know. It's just, why are we so angry? And I'm all for the idea that we should be able to have guns, we should be able to defend ourselves, we should live and honor the Second Amendment. That's fine. It's kind of what this could look. Wasn't always comfortable with it, but that's kind of one of the tenets of this country, and you either get on board or get run over by it. So okay, so we have a Second Amendment. Ain't nobody gonna try and take your Second Amendment away. However, we do have to be reasonable, and we have to talk about people like this idiot. Okay, so if the idea that taking this man's gun away from him from the rest of his life because he has now proven that he can't own a gun without being tempted to put it at the head of a 16-year-old girl working at Little Caesars, if you can't see that, how that might negate his right to have a gun in the future, you're not a reasonable person, and we are all doomed. All right, that's how I'm going to close out this show. Love you guys. By the way, my stand-up comedy that we're going to be doing on Tuesday night, coming right up at the Edison Improv. It's free of charge. I'm not going to have any of that kind of stuff. Don't worry. I don't do politics here, so I'm not. And I'm certainly not going to do social issues on stage. We are going to have fun though, so I do encourage each and every one of you who wants to attend. Myself, James Parker, Dean Lewis is going to be there. Barry Whitewater is going to be there. Greg. Greg. What is Greg's last name? We got a whole bunch of like real good local comics, you know, touring comics, who work these classes with us, who teach us. So they're going to be doing their sets. And then me and James and some of the other people from our class are going to be doing our sets. It's free to the public. It's at the Improv next Tuesday night. We'd love to have you come out. As I say, we've been doing this show now for 2 years. We've been doing the nighttime show for 2 years. So we never get a chance to hang out. So like I said, you know, I won't just get up. Let's hang out. If you guys want to come out and we'll all go out afterwards, maybe we'll find a place to go. We'll talk, we'll hang out, we'll have some fun. I mean, we've been intimate now for about 2 years. You sit here, and by intimate, I mean you sit here and you listen to me bark nonsense for 2 hours. So maybe it'll be fun to hang out. All right, so that's going to be next Tuesday night. You got to send me your name. Send it to me, Pugs Moran, Facebook, Pugs Moran, Twitter, whatever it is. DM me. If not, just at me, you know, and say, hey, I want to go. And then I'll contact you, and we'll get your name. We'll get you on the list. I need to know. But bring as many people as you want. That's the other thing. We don't get, we're trying. We don't want people to pay. So if people aren't going to pay, then, you know, if you want to tell me, yeah, I'm going to come with 3 friends, that's fine. That's fine. You bring as many people as you want. It is free. It is not a charge. I mean, you got to buy, it's club rules. So you got to buy 2 drinks. You know, it's a 2-drink minimum. Well, are you going to go out somewhere for 3 hours watching stand-up comedy and not have a drink, not buy some potato skin? So, you know, but it is free. There is no cover charge. If you do come, however, and you're not on the list, there is a cover charge. So, because it's the Improv. That's how they make money. But for, me and James and for the people that we, do these streams for every day, you guys are comped. But I just got to make sure we put you on the list. So there you have it. Let me know. Pugs Moran, Facebook. Pugs Moran, Twitter. If we're on Threads, you can do it there. Although, is there an instant messaging thing on Threads? I'm not sure. That's next Tuesday night. Tuesday night, the 19th, 7:30 at the Addison Improv. All right. And by the way, just so we know, my set on Tuesday night will not be recorded. Nope. Don't want to record it. James is recording his and all the other ones. They're like, I want to record mine. Nope. Mine will not be recorded. In the moment, baby. I'm doing it for the art. I don't want to sit back and rest on my laurels. And no, let's just go. Let's just hit that stage. Let's just do a thing and have it be out there. And the next time I hit that stage and do a thing, it'll be all new stuff. There are probably comedian friends listening to me right now going, oh yeah, that's a good plan. Have 6 fresh minutes every time you go on stage. Good luck with that. I know. It'll be fun, though. So, again, Pugs Moran on Facebook, Pugs Moran on Twitter if you want to go. We'll also be talking about it tonight on the Radio Misfits show. I'll have a scroll by tomorrow to remind you people. But we got to have all this in by Friday. I got to know by Friday. Okay, so the next couple of days. God bless. All right, we'll see you tonight at 9 o'clock for Radio Misfits, and then we'll see you back here tomorrow at noon. Tip the show if you can, please, folks. Help, we're not pushing. We're not in the hard push. We're not in the desperate save us push. But if we can, just incrementally keep the show funded throughout the month, then we'll never find ourselves in that push. Thank you. Terry dropped his $5. Terry, I like the idea of people just dropping a couple of bucks every show. Or there's like some people will just drop like $50 at the end of the month. Thank you. Yeah, that'll work. I don't know what that comes out to. That comes out to like $1.50 a show. That's a cup of coffee. So, but that's how I've been thinking about it. Whoa. Mom gave $200 last month. Moms. Jesus. Moms are the best. All right. Love you guys. See you tonight. 9 o'clock. Radio Misfits. Kelly and I are recording episode 2 of Kelly's Practical Picks. Yeah. Kelly and I are doing new stuff. Kelly and I are doing stuff. We're doing one weekly podcast. We're doing her Practical Pick segment where she picks all the teams. Her and I, we hang out, and she picks all the games based upon, the mascot versus mascot. Did not go well in week 1. That did not. Hey, week 1 is a liar, folks. Last week in week 1, the Chicago Bears kicked the snot out of the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers, of course, lost in the championship game. And the Bears were the worst team in football. So week 1 is a liar. So, also, the thing about Kelly's Practical Picks, and she has won. Actually, I think there was one year that she lost to Coach Joe. I think there was one year. There was one year that was close. But she's won every year. At the end of the season, when you take the 30,000-foot look and you tally up all of them, she is well to the good as far as the bets that she would have placed that she would have won. So you got to give it patience. And just because she took it on the chin in week 1, remember, week 1 in the NFL is a liar. It's a dirty, lying bitch. So we're going to record that tonight around 6:30. That should be released tomorrow. All right, bye, everybody. See you tonight at 9 for Radio Misfits with me and Parker.